Welcome to the demo of Sprint 1 of Sinopia Work Cycle 3, part of the Link Data for Production Closing the Loop project, also known as LD4P3. I'm Michelle Futornik, Program Manager of LD4P and Product Owner of Sinopia. Here I'll be showing Sinopia Release 3.1.0, which is right now available on our development site. There are two major improvements in this release. First, templates are now treated as resources, and second, we have a new storage layer. Let's talk about the storage layer first. We're not using Trellis anymore to store the RDF created in Sinopia. We're now using MongoDB, which is more widely used than Trellis, and which will be a stronger foundation for future improvements. As a user, the difference you're going to see is that Sinopia resources no longer have Trellis in their URI. Here's our stage environment with the old version 2, and you'll see that each resource has a Trellis-specific URI. Now, in the new version, when you create a new resource and save it, you'll see a different sort of URI without Trellis in it. And we have changed the URIs for the existing resources. So this is important. What it means is that if you were using these Trellis URIs for something outside of Sinopia, the dev team will work with you to support or change these URIs. So please open a ticket at help.sinopia.io or with the help menu here to let us know. I'll also be following up about this with an email to the user group. So on to our second major change, templates as resources. A quick review. Templates are what control how a Sinopia form looks for cataloging. They're essentially the recipe for creating a description of the thing you're cataloging. We have different recipes for different formats and different institutional needs. Previously, you had to create and edit these templates in the profile editor, which was a separate application. Starting with this new release, you can create and edit templates directly in the Sinopia editor, the same interface that you use for cataloging. So you won't need to switch back and forth between Sinopia and the profile editor, downloading and uploading templates as you go. Also, treating templates as resources is going to make it easier to do some enhancements to the template structure, like allowing ordering of fields, which I will show in this demo. So now to create a new template, you no longer use the profile editor. Instead, you use this new button called New Resource Template. After you click this button, what you're seeing here is basically the template for a template. You fill in your template metadata, and then you'll have a chance to specify what fields will be in this template. In class here, just like in the profile editor, you're entering the class for the thing that this template will describe. After you enter the metadata, you can define the fields, and just like in the profile editor, there's various parameters that you're going to set for each field. So I'm going to give a property that will be used when this template is filled out. And a field name here. And then I want to choose what type of field this is. This is going to be a literal field. And there's various parameters for each field, and not all the parameters are relevant for each field type. So we try to group them together and give you some textual hints to help. So since I have a literal, the attributes relevant to me are just defaults. I won't add one of those here, but I'll show you here where you can add a tooltip. Okay, when I save this, I'll immediately have a new template available to use. So here's that template that I just created. And when I click on it, I could open it as if I were going to fill it out for cataloging. And here's the field that I had added. It's all set for me to go. So what if I want to make some changes to this template? Like I want to add some additional fields. I find the template, and now you're going to see that we have a new pencil icon and copy icon next to each resource template. So I'll use the pencil, and that's how I edit the existing template. Here's everything I entered before and the one field that I had defined. So now I want to add another field. One thing that's important here is that the fields are going to display to the user in the editor in the order that you put them in this template. So I'm going to add another field, and it's going to be the second field by clicking Add Another here. One of the improvements that we'll be making is the ability to change the order of the fields in the template. But for now, they're in the order that I entered them in. So for this second field, I'm going to make it a lookup field. And show you some additional property attributes here. I'll call it subject, and the type is going to be lookup. So here under lookup attributes is where I say the external authoritative source that I want the user to be able to look up the subject in. And here I have to type in the Sinopia URN for the source I want. We'll be making an improvement here. Well, this will be a lookup to all the possible authoritative sources that Sinopia and the Questioning Authority Service support. Another attribute I want to point out here is the ordered attribute that I mentioned. So we have a new feature here, which is the ability to say that a field is going to be ordered. What that means is that when the user enters more than one value here, that we will retain the order that they entered them in, or the order that they specify after reordering. So I'm also going to make this a repeatable field. Previously, the default for a field was repeatable. Now in this new version, the default is not repeatable, and you have to make it repeatable. But all the repeatable, non-repeatable attributes from earlier templates have been retained correctly. Okay, so let's go see what this is going to look like when I catalog with it. I'm going to go back to resource templates. I'm going to do a hard refresh just to make sure that I see the changes. Open it up, and here's my second field. And for my subject, here I'm looking up in the LC subject headings. And it is repeatable, so I can add more than one subject here. And let's preview the RDF so you can see the ordering aspect that I talked about. So here you see the RDF first and rest are being used here to specify what order these subjects should be in. And as I said, we still need a way for the user to reorder easily and to know which fields are following this ordered property. I'll show one more thing in the new template editing feature, which is the way that you would add a nested template. Here under property type, you would choose nested resource and then add nested resource here. you would give the URI for the other template that you want to nest. So right now you have to type that in, but an improvement that we plan on making is to make this a lookup to all the templates that are here, so you can choose from the existing templates. So there are a few bugs to be fixed, and in addition to the things I mentioned needing improvement. Those are figuring out a workaround for that need to hard refresh to see the template changes in templates that you have already loaded. That you'll get an error if you try to edit a template from most recently used. So if I wanted to go back now and work some more on this and use the pencil here, I would get an error. We'll be working on that. There is an issue with defaults not showing up properly for required fields. We'll be fixing that. We'll be removing this link to the profile editor since we don't need it anymore. And there's also an issue with how values are getting entered in fields that right now is requiring you to hit enter, but we'll be fixing that so it works like it did in version 2. And there are also some implications for the current profile management process. One being that we no longer have the concept of a profile with its own metadata and a collection of resource templates. We're strictly working on the resource template level. Sinopia never did expose this concept of a profile as a collection of templates, but it's important to know that we don't have a way to create that notion in a profile editor anymore. Also, as part of this new release, when we move to stage in production, we will migrate all the existing templates that are currently in GitHub to this new RDF format so they can be edited directly in Sinopia. But we'll need to consider, as a user group, how to best manage change history and versioning of templates in this new model. So please head over to development.sinopia.io if you want to try out this new template editing model. And as always, there are several ways to provide feedback, all of which are listed on the Sinopia help page. And for more about LD4P, please visit ld4p.org.